what should you be thinking? What should you be doing going into your first competition as a white belt?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should have like you're not going to be able to map it out, you know, everything. But you should have a basic. It's kind of like if you're about to write a short story or something, and you at least know that you want it to be about a guy who has a girlfriend and they break up and like you have this basic idea. And then you run with it, and maybe it ends up being about that. Maybe that's just the first chapter, and you went off in a different direction. Cool, man. That's all right too. So basically, you know, definitely have an idea of whether you're going to pull guard or whether you're going to get a takedown, right? The basics. You know, if they take you down, now what, right? Like stuff like that, you know. But yeah, you're probably not going to map it out exactly how it's going to go anyway.
One of the most common things that I hear after somebody's first competition is, I don't know what happened.
Right.
I don't know where I was. I can't tell you what happened. I just know I was in this position for a little bit and I was that position. I don't know how I got there. I don't know what happened. And so game planning for your first competition can be very difficult. I usually say have like a push-pull mindset. Okay, so if they're really low and everything, you have your pull options. If they're standing tall, you have your push options.
Right.
If you get them in guard and they're pushing into you, well, you have your pull options. If they're leaning back, you have your push options.
Yeah, you could I'd keep it vague like that. I'd say things like control the distance if you're on the bottom, right? With a push and a pull.
If you're on top, you're closing the distance.
Exactly.
If you're on bottom, you're trying to create space.
Yeah, just understand when you. I mean, it's somewhat similar. It's the same. If I'm on top, I still want to control the distance, but more likely than not, it's more of an understanding of each position, right? Like if I'm in top half guard, I'm hugging you tight. I'm trying to pin you, smash you, right? If I'm in your guard, I'm not doing that, right? I'm understanding that this is not a spot to
Unless
smash.
it's a white belt competition.
Right. Right, exactly.
And then they're trying to smash no matter what.
But like that's the kind of like the simple vagueness that you got. Like when I teach my kids classes, when I'm coaching, what I constantly am doing is pointing out what I call hug 'em tight spots, right? I'll say that's a hug 'em tight spot, and it's top half guard, side control, north south. Those are all positions where you want to be smashing, right? And then other spots are not. Make space, you know, block. You want to posture up, whatever. Close guard, right? If you have a top half guard, but they have the underhook, right? All of a sudden, just smashing down is just going to get you reverse crunch, elevated up. So yeah, understanding the difference between those things is like super important for the beginners, right? So, but once they have that understanding down, you're probably not going to stick to a game plan.
Yeah.
You probably really aren't, and you're probably just gonna maybe as far as like whether I want to get a takedown or whether I want to pull guard.
Yeah.
That's about where it'll end.
I agree. I agree. Especially for your first one. After you've been doing it for years, you kind of know what you know when you go towards your A game.
Right.
And so you really don't need that game plan going in because it's what you do.
Yeah. And there's a good chance you know your opponent by then.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing when you're going into a brand new, you know, first competition as a novice. You don't know who that guy is, or you know, you'll find out real quick if you wrestled. That's the one thing you'll find out real quick, right? In fact, when I'm coaching white belts at tournaments, I'm always trying to get a peek of their opponent warming up because you can tell by the way they're warming up if they wrestled or not.
Stance, everything.
Yeah, they're doing that certain jump that wrestlers do. Smacking the legs. I'm like, okay, this guy wrestled. He's gonna shoot in on you.
Is he wearing a tucked-in shirt?
Yeah, get the grip, stiff arms, and then pull right away. Try to stuff that takedown with your grips, right? Yeah.
What's